So before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to please read the rulebook. So a lot of the questions that were asked, they are mentioned in the rulebook. So please take the time to go through that. So the first question that was asked was regarding a finger guard for the rotor in case of an inboard rear rotor. So if you go through the rule book, it mentions that a rotor, the half shafts and hubs, they do not require a separate finger guard. The covers are only required for your CVT and for your transmission components. So as long as those are covered properly according to the rules, then you do not require a separate guard for your rotor. So up next, there are two questions that we can answer together. So the first question is regarding tuning of the CVT and whether it's allowed during the event. And the next question is regarding the usage of spare parts. So for teams that attended last year, you'll remember that we had a rule that all spares had to be identical to the parts on the car when your car passed the tech inspection. So this year we are also going to carry on with the same rule. So whatever parts are on your car when you pass tech inspection, if you have any failure or any damage in any of those components after you pass tech inspection, you can only replace them with parts that are identical. And the way this will work is during tech inspection, you'll have to come up to us and get it verified. And we will probably place a sticker on them just to make sure that they are the parts that we verified. Regarding tuning of the CVT, so you're not allowed to change any component on the car after it passes tech inspection, and that includes tires, your shocks and dampers, and your CVT as well. So you cannot change the springs and you cannot change the weights in the CVT. We will seal the CVT to ensure that you have not opened it in any way to tamper with it. So for example, if you had a tire puncture, you can replace that tire with another tire that is of the same size and tread pattern, but you cannot change it with a different type of tire. So the next question that we were asked is, how do we measure the inclination angle on a bent member between the named points? So there's a picture that will come up on screen right now. So if you take a straight member and you take the axis along that member, now once the member is bent, the bend angle is measured between this bent portion of the member and the original straight axis. So the next question we were asked is regarding the brake pedal position. So whether the brake should be operated by the left foot or the right foot. What? So if you go through our rule book, you will find that it's not mentioned anywhere in the rule book. So the only rule regarding the brake pedal is that when you operate the brake pedal, all four wheels should get locked. So as long as your car is compliant with that rule, it's fine. Just make sure that the pedal is easily accessible and all four wheels can get locked when you're pressing the brake pedal with one foot. Other than that, you can have it operated by either foot. So the next question that was asked is, if there's a bend of 15 degrees between the points 4 and 6 from front view on the chassis, so whether that is legal and should it be braced? So the answer to that is, it's perfectly legal. You can have up to a 30-degree bend between the points 4 and 6 on your chassis, and there is no requirement for that to be braced as long as the member length is less than 838 mm. So the next question that we wanted to discuss was regarding the fire extinguisher. So as you know, a fire extinguisher is not allowed to be present within the vehicle. This also means that you have to remove the fire extinguisher mounts from front of the firewall. You cannot have the fire extinguisher or mount present in your car at all times. So coming on to the next point to discuss, that is regarding the helmet. So as you know, we only allow Snell rated helmets in our competition, and you can get the exact ratings from our rule book. So the point to be noted here is, do not trust the shopkeeper or the seller regarding the rating of your helmet. There is a list of every single Snell approved helmet on Snell's website. So make sure you cross check whether your helmet's model and version exists on that list. Only then will you be allowed to take part in the event. So the next point of clarification is regarding the clearance to the ground plane of the vehicle. So you'll remember from tech inspection last year, we had a rule where the brake light must be situated within the frame of the vehicle. So the way to check this is take a long member and place it on any two of the members on the back of the vehicle. Your brake light must be located within the frame that is created by this member. So if your brake light is touching the member at any point, or if it is beyond the member, then that is illegal. So you have to make sure your brake light is within the frame of the vehicle. And coming on to the last question to be discussed, so that is regarding the chassis material and the dimension of the tubes. So you will find the exact material and tube dimensions mentioned in the rulebook. Please make sure that you do not exceed the minimum allowed dimensions and the lowest allowed material specification. If your tube is smaller than the minimum allowed, then that will make the frame of your vehicle illegal. So please make sure you conform to these specifications. So the last point to discuss for this webinar is an addendum that we will be releasing. This addendum is an addition to the existing rulebook and will offer clarification and a few extra points regarding the rules. So this addendum will discuss suspension seats and driver clearance to the frame. So please keep an eye out for this addendum. Hi guys, so there were two other questions sent in. Both of them are related to bend angles. So the first one was if there is a bend that is greater than 30 degrees at a named point and it is braced to a member, another connecting member. So the question was, is that legal and can the start of the bracing member be at the start of the bend? So the answer to that is if it's at a named member, if you have a bend at a named point, then your bend angle can be more than 30 degrees. That is not a problem. But your bracing has to be from the center of the bend for it to count as a bracing. The only exception to this rule is the rear fab bracing. Only in the rear fab bracing can you have the bracing point not at the center. And the other question was so if a non-named member, so if there is a bend at a non-named point that is greater than 30 degrees, can it be braced to a named point? And the answer to that is no, that is not allowed. So in between any named points, you cannot have a bend that is greater than 30 degrees. Again, the only exception to this rule is at the rear fab, where you can have a bend greater than 30 degrees. So these were the two other questions that were sent in.